Hi everyone, it's Momo here. So for what happened to me in February 2021, the big incident, I only wrote about bits and bits here and there, never really wrote in detail about it. You know, my husband was urging me to write down the timelines and then to record the major events of what happened, just for the future purpose. Maybe in the future I could write about it, and when I can speak freely about it. But also I tend to forget a lot of things, because forgetting is my mechanism to cope with reality. I tend to have a very bad memory. A lot of times it may be subconsciously I was just forcing myself to forget, because in real life not everything is that easy. Like real life means my life with my husband, kids here, and also my life online. Both are not that easy. I'll talk about my life, the real life with my husband, with family later in this video. And online, everybody knows it's just so much internet violence all the time. So I think my mechanism to cope with reality is just to forget about things. So I just tend to forget a lot of things. And that's why my husband was urging me to write down everything. So in the future, if I want to write about it, I will have the content. But do I want to write about it in the future? I don't know. I think maybe not. So that's why today I'm making this video in English to talk about the incident when I'm still remembering it in detail. So in the future, if I want to know, I can see this video. And I think a lot of people who know Chinese and you followed what happened to me, you already know a lot of things. And so how do I start? It's kind of very difficult to do this. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it could be a very, very long video. It's very difficult to start even. So, okay. Yeah, and also I was never an activist, and I don't think I will ever be now under the current circumstance. So that's why I will just use this video as an end, put an end to this chapter. So this will be the last time I think I will be talking about this, and this is affecting my life. I'm putting an end to this with this very long video, I guess. So in the future, I don't think I want to talk about it anymore, mention it in my writings or anything, or books anymore. So okay, let's start. So what happened to me? Oh my god, now my neighbor is making sound. So what happened to me in 2021 February? Okay, so it was big. It was really scary. So it started from 3 days before the ending of the Chinese Spring Festival, Chinese Lunar New Year Festival. In China, you have this 7 days of holiday. So it started 3 days to the ending of the holiday. So, okay, there's other backgrounds also. So the general background is for the past of 1.5 years, I felt really detached from the whole China and Chinese internet, because first of all, I was angry with the outbreak of the pandemic, and how the government was dealing with it. And secondly, I was angry with what happened to Hong Kong. So my whole mentality had a very dramatic change. So, and also I had an identity shift. Like, I don't feel like I want to belong in a community anymore. And then plus, over the years, I've been experiencing so much of internet violence, and I was just trashed all over the times, non-stop. So I grew tired of all this. So I felt really detached. So I had to maintain a Chinese social media. I had to maintain a public profile, kind of, as a woman, a Chinese woman who married an Indian man. So I always want to bring more perspective into the internet to show what is the true experience of having an intercultural family, what is the real face of India, how to say, the reality in India when individual experiencing it. So I always carry the task on me that I want to open up people's mind on the perspective of India and intercultural marriage or woman. Okay, so I was never activist or politically want to do something. So that's why I was allowed to be there in the Chinese internet also. So but for the past of 1.5 years, because of this change, the mentality change, so I start to feel very detached to the Chinese social media. I did many times, I want to stop it, I want to stop posting anymore, I want to stop posting and then not using Chinese social media anymore, but I just couldn't stop myself at some point of time, because because the account is still there, and I had like 20,000 followers almost. So you understand that a woman who is so much hated always because they treat women as properties, right? And you're more marrying foreigners. So and no need to mention it's Indian. So it's never a popular thing. It's always having a lot of discrimination and bias towards me. But under that circumstance, I had like 20,000 followers, and then people really, some of them really want to see the Indian culture and our life, and then what is America look like and all that stuff. So I still, just that flame in me, it just never really completely died. So even though I was saying so much, I was abused so much, and I had to use a lot of video to counseling myself to get over my fear and all that stuff. I was like determined to leave Chinese social media, but still, a lot of times, just out of sympathy, my heart was softened, and I just post something. I just want to post something just for the people to see, you know, for the people who want to see, to have that chance to see, to provide them that content, because they want to know, because they are already caged. Like, who else is giving them information, giving them images, right? So I was still allowed to do it, so I just still want to do so. Okay, that's the background. Like, I was mentality, like my mental was changing. Okay, I was feeling detached and feeling not belonging anymore, but still I was not able to give up the space because I still want to help. But that caused me trouble because I deep down I want that space to, maybe not by me, like I can't voluntarily close down the space, but I know a lot of people who always telling the truth they got expelled, so the account being deleted, and then they got into trouble. So I was kind of hoping that the authority will just delete my account because I said something wrong, obviously. So that will put an end to it. Myself, I cannot do it. So I was just deep down was waiting for that moment. That is also why I was not doing so much of self-censorship. You know, over the years when you were in Chinese media, social media, you know how to do self-censorship. You will never touch the topic that you are not supposed to talk about, like politics, anything to do with remote criticism or disagreement. So I always know how to stay away from those topics. But I had this anger grow in me. So, and I was the person who never can tell lies. So I was always telling the truth. Although I avoid certain topics, but I always told the truth. I might share our life here, and then also I followed the election in America, the election in India, protest of Black Lives Matters, those kind of things. And when I was talking about that, of course I would talk about freedom and then democracy and all that stuff. And then I got over the fear, right, of the censorship, and also I was just not censoring myself too much, and I was kind of intentionally trying to trigger something to put an end to my Chinese social media life. And that eventually triggered the big event in February 2021. What happened? Okay, 3 days before the holidays end. So that there was a post of me, of my family putting on Chinese celebration, Chinese New Year celebration things, decorations, like that vlog. It's also in my YouTube. So with that vlog, I just wrote 2-3 lines about, you know, I wish this bad year of pandemic will end, and then the new year will be a good year. So when I was referring to pandemic, I was using the term Wuhan virus. Why I use this term? So, okay, the reason I told other people, I told whoever asked me, is that, oh, by accident, because I forgot English terms. I forgot the Chinese terms because I always use English terms. But actually, that was a few days ago when I really forgot the term. So I just use Wuhan virus because people here always use Wuhan virus when I talk about it, for the purpose of remembering Wuhan, because Wuhan really suffered a lot. So people like to use Wuhan virus, like the activists, the journalists here who reporting China news. They like to use Wuhan virus just to remember it, the origin of it. So at the real beginning, I was just accidentally using Wuhan virus in WeChat, which is like a closed friend circle. And some of them, it was just right away triggered, because when they see the word Wuhan virus, they just got really mad, because a whole year of brainwashing, whole year of trying to, you know, get rid of the responsibility of the pandemic and trying to put, how to say, trying to frame other countries to bring the virus. That's the government's work, right? So it was so successful for all the Chinese people. So if you dare to use the word Wuhan, people will just jump out angry, like furiously angry, and then just point fingers at you. So I realized that. I was like, whoa, that's a huge trigger if you use Wuhan virus. So when I wrote the post, like when I wrote the description of my vlog, my Chinese New Year deco vlog in Weibo, back in my mind, I was like, ooh, maybe I could use Wuhan virus. So maybe I could get into trouble, and then maybe it will affect my account. So that's what I want. So I just used the term Wuhan virus, and that really got me into trouble. So within an hour, maybe more than an hour, a few hours, that post, it was just a vlog, nothing else, just a vlog. The only thing is just I was praying for the health of the people. I was praying for a better year. I was praying the pandemic will finish soon. I just used Wuhan virus, that term, and that post within hours was shared like tens of thousands of times and got my account into big attention. So a lot of those trolls, the pink trolls who came, they came and like bashing me, accuse me, reshare. It caught attention of them, obviously, and I didn't back down. I didn't delete or apologize, obviously. I was just pushing it on, and I even screenshot one of direct message from one of my fans, and then she was talking about, oh, you know, you wrote that, and then you're going to be bashed again, like this time by the pinks. So I even screenshot. I was like, oops, by accident, I'm becoming the person again who is insulting China. So insulting China is becoming a very popular term now around the globe. Like whoever, you're a foreigner or whoever, you talking remotely about China in a disagreeable manner, you are insulting China. So it's a very popular term. So I was just using the term to mock the situation. I was just like, oh, oops, sorry, I just accidentally insulted China again. So that two posts got me in huge trouble. So within hours, maybe 40 minutes of my last post, they were like tens of thousands. They just how to say, like the army who just suddenly lands on my small island and then started bashing me and then trashing me and abuse me, and then that post and my name was pushed into the top search like within 40-50 minutes, and that directly resulted in closing down of my Weibo account. So within less than an hour of my last post, my Weibo account was closed down permanently. Everything is gone. So I was happy. I was like, finally, this is done. This is how it's done, but it's done. So I thought that was the end of it. But after one day, my parents called me in my phone. They usually don't call me in the phone. They usually use WeChat only to do video calls. So they called me in the phone, and my mom was screaming. She was crying like crazy. She said, we got into trouble. She was crying, like howling. We got into trouble. Our family got into trouble. I was so scared at the first. And then I realized, oh, they're talking about that incident. So I was like, it's okay. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. It was nothing concrete, nothing that I'm kind of like activist or something. No, it was just misuse of words. So I was like, it's okay, calm down, don't worry. So that was the second day before the end of the holiday. So it got into my parents' attention. How? Because those people, those trolls, they screenshot whatever I wrote. Also, they've been collecting what I've been writing. If there's one line or one word that they are not happy about, they've been collecting all this content of me. Over the years, even content go back to 2011. Okay, in different like era, like for different issues, obviously, and then they've been collecting all this, and then everything was just out of content. One line, one word. So they've been collecting a lot of these materials for me already, because they all these people, they hate me for years, for being there, for having a face, for having a real identity there. So what I did is, now my Weibo account is closed. They took it to everywhere. So they compile Weibo content, they compiled articles, they sharing in all kinds of major media platforms. They sharing Weibo, WeChat, everywhere, like Chinternet, all this kind of news platforms or forums and all. And each of them got into the top of search or top viewed. And that would just instantly become a huge hit of the whole Chinese internet. And that is how my parents got to see, because everybody is calling them, like the relatives and friends. They've been calling my parents, oh my God, I see your daughter's photos, I see those articles that they're talking about your daughter, and then they were accusing her and all the stuff. So, and when they were compiling all these articles of me, they did all this like, oh, hating China and insulting China. One of the funny thing is they also went back to my Sina blog. I've been maintaining a Chinese blog also. I have like 100 blogs posts there, and they even went through one by one, and then they screenshot one of the caption of the picture, which is me and my older sister-in-law, not older, like my other sister-in-law who lives in London now. Me, her, and Raj, we three sitting on a table. I put a caption there saying, oh, this is my husband's other wife, just to mock. At that time, people already calling me a second wife, and then my Indian husband having a different wife. They already calling me all these names, so I was just mocking my situation. That was years back, maybe 6-7 years back. So I was just mocking myself in the blog, saying, oh, that's the other wife, but then in the bracket I was like, sister. So they just screenshot that, and then they just nailed it. They coined it, me as the other wife of my Indian husband. So they also compiled this content into all this like hating China content, and that was one of the reason that it got so much heat, because it's sensational, right? It's like, you marrying an Indian, not even legally, but being a different, like a ineligible wife. So that was also the reason that it got so popular. And then I graduated from the top university in China, like the top major, like really like rarely like small amount of people reach to that tall with education, to that high with education, and then marrying an Indian and hating China, and now not a real wife also. It just altogether it becomes so, just I don't know, so it just becomes so popular. It was shared everywhere. So the last day of the holiday, it even went up. I was like, maybe this will go down in one day, 24 hours, but no. Even the last day, it went up, and it becomes, it just, everybody was just talking about it. Everybody was just sharing about, bashing me, hating me, and sharing with their family, their friends, and then sharing in WeChat, and then everywhere, basically everywhere. And then this news even got into China Daily, like a briefing of like what's happening in China right now. So my parents were shit scared. My mom was just crying all the time, and then thinking I'm betraying her and all the stuff. And my dad was just so scared, because if you cause so much attention, there's a line to cross, right? Online it's okay, but if you cause so much attention, if the authority wants to investigate your family or put charges in your family, this could be real. So my dad was so scared, and I was just like counting the minutes, just let it. I don't feel so scared because I really didn't write anything. All these things, nothing is really concrete. That's what I think, right? So last day of the holiday, okay? So when the holiday finished, I was thinking, oh, maybe people go back to work and then it will be fine. So with my family, or my uncles and all, who still not retired, the first thing in the morning when they go back to work, they were called upon by their authority, by their superiors, and being scolded, and then because of my wrongdoing, because everybody knows my identity, and then if you want to know within authority, it's like a few minutes thing, you find out who I am and then who are my family members. So all of them who already still work, they being called upon to have a talk with, and then my parents just like so scared, hearing all like phone calls constantly. People were calling them to report them what's going on and what's happening and all. So that day, although my family were called, and then on the internet, people still trying to bubble it up, but I think people got back busy with their life, with their work, so it kind of start to die down a little bit. So, and then meanwhile for me, I was just kneeling down the whole time in front of my whole family, extended family, for causing such trouble for them. I never thought this could go this big. I was just posting something. I was just posting something out of empathy, and just maybe deep down I want to close down my account. That's it. I never thought that they could make it such a big deal out of me. So I was just kneeling down the whole time. I was just apologizing to all of my extended family members for causing such trouble for them. Imagine their supervisors all got angry, really angry with them, because the local people, the local authorities, they also don't want this kind of trouble on them, because people were using my city's name, using my family's name to find out who I am and where I live, right? So all my information, personal, private information, were online, and people were threatening to harass my family. They were threatening to find out my mom and dad, my uncle, aunties, and then do bad things to them, like threats and all that stuff. So for the local authorities, they also don't want this kind of attention. Like our small county, right, small city, they don't want the whole nation's attention into them. So they were just so angry with my family. So I was just apologizing over and over and over again for almost all the time. Every few hours, I was just like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. So, okay, one day after everybody started to work, things start to die down. The second day of work, it's almost going away by then. So, and by this time, I just apologized 1,000 times to, like thousands, tens of thousand times to all of my family, try to explain my situation, that I really didn't mean anything bad. I didn't say anything to criticize anybody. I was just praying for the people. It just misuse of words. So the second day, which is like in total, maybe the fourth and fifth day, the whole thing finally died down. Okay, fifth day. The funny thing is, like the sixth day, so the Chinese authorities decided to publish this video of back in June 2020 June. There were a conflict between China and India at the border. There were a clash of soldiers both sides, and there were many soldiers died. The Chinese government never really released this information until the 6th day of my incidents. It's nothing to do with me, it's just their timing. Okay, just by accident they released some video of the fightings between the Chinese soldiers and then the Indian soldiers. So, and then they said how many people died. Okay, I'm not getting into that. So they would just finally announce it and then try to mourn the heroes and all. So for all those content that they collected over the years, one of it is when I was in 2020 June, I also commented on this border conflict between China and India. So my commentary was, I was saying there's no need to fight. People want peace. Whoever fighting, whoever died, the soldiers, whoever died there, it's just in vain, it's just ashes for political games. That's my commentary. So that was screenshot. Also, it was part of the thing that people were shared for so many days. So when my thing died down almost, this video started to be released by the authority, and then it just created this huge wave of patriarchal, huge wave of patriarchal people to show their patriotism. So when I see that in WeChat, they were like almost everybody, like all these friends or acquaintance, they reshare the video, and then they salute to the heroes, and they mourning the loss of the Chinese side of soldiers, and then hating the enemy side of the soldiers. Everybody. It was a huge wave. I got really scared. I was not scared for the past few days, but at that point I was so scared, because what if they want to use what I wrote in June go against me? Right? I was like, oh my god, this could be real trouble. Like, this could cause real trouble. So I was just like, I thought it's done, but I was just anxiously waiting for the second kind of wave to die down. So I just post maybe one last WeChat content, because I don't have other Weibo anymore, so I just post in my WeChat, and then by then a lot of people just came to my WeChat to see what I'm writing there. So I just post a statement to salute our country's soldier, and saying that I'm stand with the Chinese and all that stuff. So I just wish this don't come to me to cause more trouble to me. So that is how scared I was. And then eventually this passed in 3-4 days time, when everybody just had their craze of being patriotic and then hating the Indian enemies, and praying how to salute to their Chinese heroes. 3-4 days finally passed, and during this wave there were at least 10 internet users, bloggers, or whoever used internet, who said 1 or 2 lines about questioning, are you sure it's only this amount of people who were killed? There were at least 10 of them being causing real trouble to them. They were the police of the authorities prosecuted them, deleted their account, and then put police notice, arrested them, really arrested them in real life. At least 10 of them. I was watching it one by one. I was like, please don't come to me, don't come to me. I was so scared for what I wrote in June 2020, that small commentary. And even there was one guy who is one of the billionaire's son who live in abroad, and he wrote 1 or 2 lines about the conflict, China-Indian conflict, and then the son, the billionaire's son, was also put under harassment, although he's abroad, but then they put a police notice of arresting him. So luckily this wave didn't catch me, so I was not a victim of this wave. Like, there was no actual police harassment announcement to me because what I did. And then the whole thing, first wave and second wave, lasted around 10 days. The second wave, I was more scared because it's something solid that they could maybe use to go against me. Although I didn't say anything this time, but then what I did in June, maybe they are not happy about. So luckily it didn't cause trouble for me. But the whole 10 days was just a nightmare for me, for my family. Although it was me who caused all this trouble, but my family were the ones who has to face the consequences much more. They were constantly receiving messages, phone calls. Everybody was just telling them information. It's like, I see this in that group, I see that from my friends, and then my friends and friends shared this, and they said this about your daughter, and then they said this and this. They're analyzing everything, and then whatever that they screenshot of me, it's all amplified. It's like, you know, in Cultural Revolution, you put those magnified newspaper on the wall to accuse somebody. That was me. So everything I write, when they screenshot 1 or 2 lines, it was put everywhere in the Chinese internet, and everybody saw it. My dad said the coverage was 100%. All of his friends, all of them, all of our relatives, all of my town people, that's like 150,000 people, and all of my city, like also the capital of Fujian province, the city, that's like millions of people. And also almost all of my Xiamen University's students, I was a topic for like days. The Xiamen University's communities, whoever studied there 30 years ago, whoever are studying there right now, they were talking about me, accusing me to be a traitor. It was that hot, and everybody was talking about it. And my parents were just really scared. That they were so scared of listening to any phone rings or any like message coming. Just all about, you know, somebody said that. And for the whole 2 waves, I was just kneeling down on the ground, apologizing to all my family. I don't care about other people. I just apologizing to my family members over and over and over again. And I also took a vow or promised that I would never write anything in Chinese anymore, remotely disagree with whatever authority or whatever it is there, not even in English. Because how ironic is that Raj sometimes will share opinions like a normal human being in his social media, Twitter, Facebook. Those people who hate me, they also follow Raj, they stalk Raj also. So they screenshot 2 of his words, just commenting on some news. Okay, they also screenshot what he wrote. What he wrote is concrete. It's about, you know, authoritarian, and then, you know, what we don't want, authoritarian democracy. He's not Chinese. He write those kind of things. So they screenshot 2 of he wrote. So there are some of my family friends and of whoever, they were like, oh, in some group, and then there was some professor who was analyzing this issue, and then they were like, your daughter didn't say much, but then her husband is really a China hater, so be careful of what you say in English also. So I was like, hey Raj, please don't say anything anymore, like your social media also. So I had to take vows of not like shut my mouth in commenting on any Chinese affairs in Chinese language, also in English language. Also, Raj not allowed to comment on any of Chinese affairs publicly. I took a vow to my family. So my dad, like during those days, he was thinking about killing himself, because if the authority wants to prosecute my family, my dad he thought there's no way out, so except killing himself. And then my mom was just so scared all the time. Even today, after almost 2 months, my mom's still having nightmares all the time. She couldn't sleep in the night. She kept waking up in the night, and then she had like heart problem kind of. She thinks that she have heart problem now, but she just have a heartache, and then couldn't sleep, nightmares all the time. So also there's a different aspect to it, is that I want to share here today, is that like when the two waves both of the two waves died down. So one day I was just checking with my dad, like, how is the situation now, and then what are you guys doing? Are you feeling well? Are you okay? Did you eat well? So my mom and dad were just accusing me. Throughout all those days, they never said anything to support me. And I was the one who always apologized and then saying I'm wrong. They never said anything to support me, saying, oh, those internet violence shouldn't be there. So when those died down, I check up on them, and they were accusing me. They were like, oh, my friends said this. Like, basically in my small town, everybody get to know. And then in my school that I went to, my high school, like my mom's friends told her that in the high school it becomes such a big issue that all these high school kids, they were abusing my school teacher who taught me. They were just pointing finger at the school teacher whoever taught me and saying they are traitors because they taught me. How cultural illusion it is, right? So my mom said that, and then my mom said, oh, my other friends have said that in the group. I just got mad. I know I was not in a place to get mad with them, but I was just like, why you have to listen to your friends said this? How does that even matter to you or matter to me? Like, all this time I was innocent, right? I was not intentionally doing any harm to anybody. I was the one who was harmed. It's only because I was strong, so I was kind of not affected that much because I'm used to it. But imagine if somebody else going through this, maybe like they could commit suicide, right? But I was strong, right? But you never even backed me up for once. And you have to listen to all your friends how they accuse me. Is that really valuable to you? Why you have to choose to listen to this kind of things? Deep down you don't know who is right and who is wrong. So with all that, plus, so go back to at the right beginning of this video, I was talking about why I tend to forget about everything in real life and online. Like, my memory is just really bad because that's my mechanism to cope with reality. Because in reality is my parents, they never respect my choice of marrying my husband. Not really, even once. So yes, we had our weddings, we had all this. For God's sake, we have babies. How old they are, 6 and 4. And my parents were like the major part of bringing up my babies when they were so young. But deep down in their heart, they never respect my choice. They never respect me as individual who has her own will. They never respect my choice. They never respect my choice of a husband. They never respect my choice of what I really want to do as maybe a writer, a blogger. I wouldn't say a critic, but just who wants to express her feelings, who wants to make her own way. They never respect that. One time I almost got into depression. It's because my parents told me on my face, also because of something I wrote online and it caused something, and then they saw it. So they told on my face that when I told them that I want to be a writer, that was maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. So they told me on my face that we don't give a damn of what you want to be, just take care of your kids. And we don't give a damn of what you want to be. If you want to be a writer, never let me or your mom let us see what you write, because I will never ever write, I will never ever read what you write. That's their reaction to my dreams. So that hurts me so much that I almost got into depression. So all over the years online, I was so much bashed, I faced so much internet violence. But I was always strong. I never felt much, because my closest people in my life, my mom and dad, they never respected me. They never respect my choice. That kind of agony, that kind of hurt, I don't think that a lot of people can imagine it. So that depression, the almost depression experience that I had, also transformed me in a lot of ways. So I just stopped caring about what I think, and I just become stronger of what I really want to do. And then I just wouldn't care anymore. I just throw everything and then keep chasing my dreams. I don't care if you want to read whatever I write. I don't care. It's nothing to do with you anymore. So that is my reality. That is why I need this like losing memory kind of mechanism to cope with the reality. So this time when the whole thing happened, and then when everything died down, and then my parents go back to accusing me because their friends said this, I was like, I can't stand this anymore. I have to tell them that you choose. You either choose to respect my choice, with respect my family here, or you go with your friends, whoever that it is that you value so much with. So I really told them that you have to choose now. If you can't respect my family, my kids, because my kids are Indians. Who they are Indians. You can't wash away their Indianness in them. You cannot bleach them, to be fair. They always like, oh, when you go out, put on sunscreen, put on a hat, and put on this, don't let the skin go darker. Always like that. And then don't use your hands. Like whenever they want to talk about something about the kids, it's like, don't use your hand to eat, don't go out in the sun. That's the only thing they can think about. I was like, if you disrespect them so much in a way of their true identity, I also don't know how to let the kids respect you. So I was really pushed to the edge. So I just lay out all these options for them. I was like, you either respect it, or you go back with your friends and whoever, you live with them, okay? And then we don't know how to respect your choice, obviously, because I would never go back to that town anymore. What do you think? With all these people there, with all your friends and friends and friends saying all these things, do I ever get to think about going back? Ever? No. So I said I would never go back there anymore. Like, and also my family, my extended family, right? Throughout the waves of this recent one, and I was just apologizing all the time. So at the almost end of it, one day they all came to my place to eat because it was still Chinese New Year. So they also all came, and then my mom did video chat with me because that few days I was just online all the time apologizing. So my mom wants to video chat with me. I'll video chat, and all of them came to like talk with me, accusing me and saying that, you know, you shut up now, you don't say anything anymore. And just like as the elders that who asked me to shut up and who asked me to exile from Chinese social media, stop using Chinese, and then you know, you're stupid because you don't know what's the situation in China, and then you're worthless because, you know, the only achievement you had in life is you got into the top university in China, and that's the end of it. And then whatever you did from them is just total bullshit, like marrying Indians and then come to America, and that's just total bullshit for all of us. So they said all this on my face, like after all these days of apologizing for me. So that also hurt me, but I kind of so immune to all of this, like, because I know that the people who is the closest to you could hurt you the most. So I just let them. I know they are angry with me, they are scared, so I let them say all these things to me, and I still apologize. So, but then I really deep down, I don't know how to face them anymore. I don't know how to go back to that life. That was not my life anyways for the past 12 years, but I don't even know how to go back to visit for even once. And that was just reality of me. So now I just, a few days I was talking with my dad and mom a little bit. So I think my dad also, no, because I said it. Oh, I was like, if you can't respect it after all this, if you don't think it's the internet trolls problem or the society's problem, you still think it's my problem, then I don't know how to face you. I don't know how to respect your choice. So I really said it. Oh, so I think my dad kind of got it, but then every time he still like promise me don't write anything. He just keep reminding me every few days when I check on their health. So we are not, like, also I stopped using all the Chinese social media, although they didn't delete my account on other platform, like other video sharing platform, but I just stopped doing everything in China, like finally. And then also I had this blog in Chinese language. I just went ahead and delete every article of whatever I wrote before. It's just my way of saying goodbye to the whole chapter of my life that just ended like that. So now my mom's heart still pains, and then she's still having so much nightmares, and I don't know what to do with that, but I think hopefully they will recover, because really lucky, really fortunate of what happened is nothing like from reality happened, like no police harassment, there's no prosecutions to my family really happened. So that was lucky. It was only the internet thing. So, and also, there's a different aspect. Just there's so many layers to this whole incident. So I've been, all these years, I've been the one who has a real face, who has a real identity, who dare to share things which is authentic, using my real name, real identity, even though I'm not posting my real name. But then I was interviewed by the Global Times, right? And then they publish articles of me with real name, because if I tell them fake names, they're going to find out anyway. So I told them the real information. So my information was online, and then all the trolls, they just use my real information to trash me and all the stuff, to scare me. And all these years, I was the person who dared to use my real identity to promote China-Indian relations, to introduce Indian culture, to show what is really like us in intercultural marriage. And because of me there were people who found each other, those girls, those women who married Indians, who were dating Indians. They were obviously discriminated by the whole society. But because of me, they were able to keyword and find out my information, and find out we had a group of girls who all married Indians. So in that group of women, 300, 400 women, a lot of them also are so utterly brainwashed, and then pinks. So they were pinks, and then when my issue happened, when my incident happened, they instantly jump out and then accuse me too. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them. Like, I was never friends with them. I was just a medium for them to find each other. I was never friends with all of those girls, but then they all know me, right? When my thing happened, they like right away kick me out of groups. And then in the group, when after they kicked me out, they bash me too. They were like, she's such a traitor, and she's like doing all these things online just to show off, and then she representing us, and then like she has different opinions, but like she's representing us. So basically, they were talking about is like in China, you dare not to post anything with your own identity except me. So most people just hide behind their screens. So when I post things, I will use tags, right, as Chindians, Chinese American Indians, this kind of tags, because that's my identity, right? If I don't use the tags, how do you find me? So I use those kind of tags. Because of that, they're saying that I now represent all women who marry Indians. And now I have a different political opinion, and then I kind of hurt their images. And they wouldn't say it's because of there's no freedom there. It's because the whole environment is so discriminative, so nobody dare not to share anything. They don't understand this, and then they only accuse the person who is brave. If you look at YouTube, all these Chindian couples, they use whatever tags they want. They post whatever content they want. They represent whatever community they want. Chindians, international, whatever. You're just yourself. Nobody's trying to put any tag to you. It's okay. You can use whatever tag you want, right? And everybody's sharing their own content, having their own face, own identity. It's only because in India, nobody dare to do anything. And that's why when somebody dare to do it, and at the end of it, they are so easily just flip and accuse the people who dare to be out there. And this just is so ironic, because I had some close friends who we were just like for last 1 year that we were using different channels to communicate. And then they know what happens. They seeing what's happening in those groups that they kick him out. So actually they told me what's happened, and then what those people are saying. I was like, I'm not interested in what they're saying, but it's good to know how bad people could turn to, how dark they could be, how ungrateful they could be, right? And then in the whole environment, this cultural revolution environment, it's so easy for people to just accuse other people, report other people, abuse other people. And this also gave me chills about the whole Chinese community. Like, after the incident, I was even scared of taking my kids to the park when I see like Chinese women, mommy and daddies, who talking together in Chinese. I will intentionally avoid all of them. First of all, maybe they could recognize me, and second of all, I just don't want to get close to any of those groups anymore, like whatever group of Chinese people. If you're Chinese, you cannot live out of the world of the WeChat. You don't have a real life here. You don't have a fair and an objective life or values you couldn't build. So the way that the government to control the people is now everything is 2.0. They use all these platforms like WeChat, like everything is in there, right? So if you cannot cut yourself from that space, you can never rebuild yourself. I rebuild myself because at that time there were no social media, and I rebuilt when I was younger, 20 years old, right, 20s, and in a different era kind of thing. So now people just cannot get out from the social media, and then difficult to grow independent thinking. And also that's a different aspect of it. So for me now, I just don't want to get close to any of Chinese groups in whatever way, mommies groups or whatever, like location wise, and or marrying India. I was like, oops, no. Like I never treat any of them are really like close friends, but now I know their true face. A lot of them, when things happen, they will just stab on your back. So that is that. And basically this is what happened for me. And for me going on in the future, so what I want to be, what I want to continue with all this online thing, or what I want to do in my life. So I never was an activist or something to criticize the government. I just somebody who maybe have different opinions on everything, and I don't like to criticize like right away. I prefer to go deeper into the cultural aspect, a spiritual aspect, deeper into the people's mind kind of thing. So I will continue on that path. English, Chinese, doesn't matter to me. I will use English from now to go deeper into that path. I don't think that's affected at all. It's actually easier for me now because I do not need to like divide my time to help the Chinese people getting more information or getting more real experience of here or in India, right? So I can save my time to really do the things I really want to do, write about Indian culture and get to know more about spirituality. I take that path deeper, and that is not affected. And that's basically it. And I will stay in the space of the YouTube, and then I'll grow here finally with my whole heart, like not distracted, and that's the end of an old chapter and then the beginning of a new chapter. That's basically it. That's it of my today's video. So 1 hour 5 minutes. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening. Bye.